Well, let's get into some of the treatment for more entrenched depersonalization and derealization and other dissociation disorders too. How are we able to treat some of this stuff? Because it's one of the things that we've mentioned before in the podcast that it's not so readily treatable through medication, is it?
Yes, so I think one of the main things is a greater understanding and awareness of what dissociation relates to, what dissociative experiences come from, what these dissociative conditions might reflect in different ways, understanding the connection between dissociative experience and repeated painful experience in childhood, often around repeated abuse or trauma or neglect. So there would have been that incentive to switch off, including using hypnotic mechanisms. If people understand that, then hopefully people understand the rationale more for the way of addressing that is to look to manage with painful experience within your own skin with your frontal lobe switched on. So in other words, not using that level of cognitive and emotional avoidance. Now, in terms of dealing with the overwhelming aspect of dissociation, like there's too much stimulation, so our brain's just overloaded, and so we can't process information or think straight, as well as that numbing aspect, it's good to use arousal management strategies. So this can include breathing techniques, some form of yoga or meditation, or anything that we find quite relaxing in certain ways. Also, physical exercise is good. Also, managing basic daily routines and cycles. So looking at our eating, making that somewhat regular. Sleeping, looking to get a regular sleep routine, or at least giving ourselves a chance of that by the way we look to establish a sleep routine. So sleep, exercise, diet. So exercise helps very much generally for stress management and helping our body function well. That's also good practice for feeling yourself within your body, exercise as well, but certainly arousal management. So if we've got that understanding and ways of tempering our stress reactions, then there's less need to dissociate to some extent. Because part of it involves that trance-like state, we can also use grounding techniques. So grounding techniques like, for example, focusing on the world around us, even focusing on objects in the room around us, even looking at our feet on the floor and feeling our feet against the floor. That's one kind of grounding technique as well. But just generally, being grounded is looking to be within your own skin, be within your body with your frontal lobe switched on, aware of the world around you. Sometimes even simply describing in detail some of the objects that you can see around you is a grounding technique. And as one delightful spontaneous example, again, Jason's example of now I take a bit of time each day to get everything out of mind. I look around for a few minutes and just sort of notice what's around him. Think, hey, how cool it is. There's something rather than nothing. Or just generally noticing the things around us for a few minutes. That's a very good grounding technique. Then beyond that, it's also considering sometimes in therapy, seeking therapy to help address ongoing depression or trauma reactions or drug and alcohol problems or other signs of personality difficulties such as feeling difficulties with managing impulses or regulating our emotions, that kind of thing. So different kind of stress management techniques can help there. So dealing with additional reactions, because often when people have dissociative experiences, they might have several other reactions at a similar time, including trauma reactions and depression would be quite common.